I'm back. I'm back. And I watched episode 2 and 3, and I have things to say. So I want to start by saying that I am going to be judgy. I'm going to make judgy comments. I think we all know that we're watching a TV show, that there are edits, that there are, situations we don't know about. There are conversations we're not being shown. There's a lot that we don't get to know. So I am telling you now that as I am being judgy, and when I say she's a bitch, and when I say stuff like that, she's a real B word or whatever, I'm clearly not talking about the person and their soul. I'm talking about the character who is on our TV screen. And I want that to be very clear because I'm going to talk about two big B's. And bro, I can't even. I'm over it. Like, really? My animals are acting crazy. Anyway, all I'm trying to say is I don't know Micah as a person. I don't know her. I never met her in real life. I only know the character Micah that is on our season 4 of Love is Blind. And she's a B word. She is manipulative, gross. So let's get into it. Let's talk about Micah, right? And we have to talk about Kwame, who she dumps. Because last time I talked to you guys, Micah had kind of emotionally manipulated Kwame into being like, I would propose to you now. And she was like, you're proposing to me now. She walked out acting like he was insane, that he just got there on his own and that she had nothing to do with it. Then she went in and she kind of messed around with Paul a bit. I believe his name is Paul. He's the New Orleans. I think he's an environmental scientist. Anyway, he's the guy called Smarmy. She messed around with Paul. She got him to agree to leave Amber. And she was like, yeah, I'll leave Kwame. And then she did. She followed through with that part. So I actually think that this is a good thing. I think that Kwame and Amber both dodged major bullets. But anyway, when she broke up with Kwame, I'm proud of Kwame. He didn't pull any why was she the best or anything. He didn't get manipulative. He said, okay, that's fine, and left. He was clearly upset, but wasn't gonna put that on her. He took it with himself and left the room. Mature. If you can't say anything nice, don't say anything. And he wasn't in a place where he was feeling overly kind and oh, it's hard for me, but I'll go ahead and support you in this. No, look, y'all, I chipped one nail, so we're gonna get over it. He just got out of the situation. He was clearly upset, very, very upset. She picked up on that. She walked out oh, he was so upset. Almost like his emotions were ridiculous. And that's a theme because through this whole thing, Irina, I believe that's her name. She's from Russia, originally, black hair. She's talking to, who is she talking to? Gosh. I'm gonna have to come back to him and his name, but Irina is talking to him and he's talking to Bliss as well. And I can't think of his name, but anyway, Irina and her roll their eyes, make faces, laugh behind people's backs. When people are emotional about hurting someone, they're like, oh, you hurt a big deal. It's so gross, it's so ridiculous, and it's just ugly. And it really shows that you might be one thing when you're sitting in that room, but who you are as an entirely formed person is not coming through because you're making fun of the fact that people are actually investing their emotions in this. Yes, that's what they're doing. It's a TV show, but these people are making the commitment and they are investing their emotions. So stop rolling your stupid effing eyes. That's all I'm saying. And then I'm going to say some more. So Micah dumps Kwame. Can't believe he's so emotional. Also, I said this. I was like, she's the kind of girl who's going to go out and talk about how upset he is because she wants Chelsea to know. He's so upset because you are second choice. Now, I'm going to tell you something about maturity in real life. If you've lived any real life, you know that things don't always work out the way you need them to, the way you want them to, the way they might be perfectly set to work out. They're not perfect. things come through, you know, beautiful, beautiful relationships can be born through the ugliest times of your life. And that's just real life. So in this situation where you agreed to date people who are also dating other people, as you all get to know each other, if you're going to be so butthurt that they might have picked somebody else, that you are then going to be like, never mind, I thought you were it, you're perfect, but you were thinking, you were leaning towards somebody else, so never mind. You are robbing yourself of something that could be beautiful. And I was not at all worried that Chelsea was going to do that, because Chelsea is a grown-ass woman who owns herself. I love Chelsea. When Kwame talks to Chelsea, she does a lot of this. You know what that is? Chelsea is taking him in. She's letting him resonate with her soul. She's not feeling dumb. She's not feeling like I'm just rolling my eyes at you. She's hearing him and drinking in what he is pouring out to her. And it's a beautiful thing, okay? I was not worried at all that Chelsea was going to be worried about being second pick. I think Kwame was very upfront. I think that he was very honest. I think they understood that they were going through a process, and I don't think that Micah walking out and being like, he was so upset, was going to get to Chelsea. I'm glad they broke up, because that opened the door for Kwame to propose to Chelsea. And she said yes, 1,000 times yes. Actually, there were several girls who said 1,000 times yes, and I'm not sure if Chelsea was one of them. I feel like she might have been. Anyway, just to wrap that part of the story up, they do meet and they are wonderful. I felt like they were so good. They kiss well. I know it sounds stupid. I wasn't in the kiss. But what I say by that is, if you have watched The Bachelor, if you've been around these dating shows, you know that sometimes those kisses are effing weird. They're weird. They are, you know, and that's okay. That doesn't mean anything for the future of the relationship. First kisses can be strange, and then on top of that, you're like stone cold sober and you're on TV. It's a lot of weirdness. So I'm not, hey, stop fighting. I'm not like fussing about the weirdness, but what I am saying is that this is not a weird kiss. They do a beautiful job. I think they look lovely together. I think that they are the right height. They look so good together. And I was like, oh my God, it reminded me, seeing them together, that Kwame is used to be a soccer player, and he, I guess, had an injury or something, and that ended. And I remember Chelsea saying, how are you? Because that's a big deal when people lose that identity. And he said, I might never get over it. I'm okay. I'm doing great, but I might never get over it. And I understand that. And I think anybody who's had a real loss can understand that. I'm okay. I'm doing great, but I might never get over it. And I thought it was a beautiful thing that she recognized that that is something he's processing. But anyway, seeing them together made me remember that. And I was like, oh my God. He's going to be such a cute little soccer coach and dad. And doesn't she look like a soccer player's wife, that she'd be there with the kids, like she's the coach's wife, the like team mom? They look good. They look solid. It's something about it makes so much sense. It's sick. Okay, I love it, and I love them, and I can't wait to see where it goes. Now, to talk about the trash end of that story, Micah. Let's talk about Paul. Paul does break up with Amber, and Amber's like not anywhere near as mature as Kwame is. She's like, I'm not going to tell you to have a good one and all that stuff because I don't feel it, right? And she's heartbroken. She's upset, you know. I get it, but we're not babies. You don't have to act like that. Come on now. Come on now. That's all I'm saying. And also, I think that if she watches this show later on, she's going to be like, hell yeah, actually, let me write him a thank you note. Thank you, because I dodged a freaking bullet. A bullet the size of a freight train, bro. Thank you, right? He gets a haircut from somewhere. Like, I don't know if these guys are given haircuts, like it's something that the show will give them, or if it's like, I don't know, maybe one of the guys knows how to cut hair. I feel like that happened on one of these shows. I don't know, I can't remember if it was Bachelor or like it was Another Love Is Wine. Sometimes the guys have skills, right? So I don't know where he got his haircut from, but Paul is looking better with his haircut. Looks a little less ridiculous. And let's talk about looks real quick, because I want to say this as well, because I said earlier, like, I'm not talking about the person, the whole person. I'm talking about like who they are on this TV show, right? With that in mind, I feel like nobody in this whole show is unattractive. Like, you have different, like, obviously we're all humans and we're all attracted to different things. I don't think that anybody in this show is particularly unattractive, and I don't think that anybody in this show is particularly so hot you couldn't live without them. And I feel like there is a very big lesson in that, and that is that personality is going to change what they look like, right? So I feel like Micah is somebody. The cats are being ridiculous. I feel like Micah is somebody who is traditionally very, like, Western world attractive, blonde hair. I believe she has blue eyes. She's petite. And so you might look over at her and be like, yeah, she's cute or whatever. I feel like she was very neutral. Like, when I first saw her, I was like, I can go either way. But the more we get to see her and Irina, like, roll their eyes and just be so gross about other people and their experiences, she becomes more and more unattractive. It is the weirdest thing. So in the first episode, I thought that her and Paul were pretty well matched physically. But even though Paul is a smarmy weirdo, in my opinion, like, he just, something about him comes across as, like, disconnected or disingenuous. So I don't know, but, like, even though that, I feel like Paul is more attractive than Micah. I feel like he actually, when he speaks sometimes, he's got some going around. I don't understand it all, but he's got a little something in there. And I don't know, I feel like seeing her in the women's pod area, the way that she treated her fellow women and the way that she scoffed at a real emotion was just gross, and I didn't like it. And of course, she's doing that with her good buddy Irina. So maybe y'all should just go off, get an apartment in LA, live your effing lives, and just do whatever you're doing, because you are not taking this serious. You're not trying to be happy here. You're, like, rolling your eyes and she's crying. Like, it's the weirdest thing, right? So that's just gross, and I don't know, like, that, you know, Paul asked her to marry him, and that happens, and I'm pretty sure we see them meet, and they like each other. Is that real? Yes, that's real. Yeah. She's happy with him. Now, I don't know what's gonna happen. I feel like she's the kind of personality that when she sees all of the other guys, she might feel like she picked wrong. I don't think she's gonna wish that she picked Kwame, because I believe that was never something she was really going to settle into. But her friend Irina, who is also being a total trash bag with her in the way that she's treating other women, especially Bliss, pulls some bullshit herself, because Bliss is baking cookies and I can't remember his name. What is his name? Like, he's not Steve. Is he Brian? Is he Ryan? We're going to go with Ryan. He's, like, the criminal defense attorney, I think. Is it Ryan? Y'all, I don't know. I'm going to try to find out. But I don't want to cut this because this is actually working this video, so I don't want to mess it up. I think it's Ryan that Bliss and Irina are talking to. And Irina, like, Bliss is baking him cupcakes. And Irina goes in there and it's like, I'm so sorry I didn't get you anything because birthdays are such a big deal. And it's almost like she would not have even known if somebody else in that room was not dating that man. Now, Bliss falls prey to something that we have seen. If you have been around the Bachelor franchise, you know this. If you bring up other girls in your date, you very well might sabotage yourself. And what she's saying is correct, but she kind of says that she's not sure. Like, that him picking Irina makes her feel like she can't trust his judgment. And he is already so hyper aware of being judged that he feels that is a big one for him. Later on in conversation, she says there's been people her parents haven't liked and that it's been rough. And that is another trigger for him. So she kind of triggers him twice and he is being pushed at Irina. Now, in a conversation with Irina, he brings up the word vicious. Now, I said hard, and as we've seen more and more of her, I believe she is hard, and I believe she's a different kind of hard than I am. I think she's kind of a bitch. And I think she can be really ugly, and I think that vicious is a good word. And he touches on that. She gets real upset, of course. I mean, that's not a compliment. And he kind of backpedals it, and he yet and still picks her. And I think that he picked her more, and whether he's conscious of this or not, he has a conversation with Marshall, who is our Yoda this season. He's our all-knowing. And in this scene, I believe it's Ryan. Can't really remember his name, but he is having a whole conversation with Marshall, where in the edit, at least, Marshall says nothing back to him. And yet Ryan unlocks so much for himself in having this conversation with Marshall. And that is the magic of a real Yoda. So he has this conversation, he makes a decision, and he picks Irina. And Bliss, when she gets broken up with, is like, I mean, I'm not going to fight with him. What am I supposed to say? And it's like, oh, honey, but you are his right. He is letting deep insecurities push him in a different way. And that is, I hope he's the one that realizes he made a mistake, because he did. Big mistakes were made. Gigantic, horrible, awful, life-altering mistakes were made in this episode. In one of these two, because I'm combining them into one. Mistakes were made. I haven't seen them meet each other yet, so I think that's what's going to happen at the beginning of episode 4. Anyway, I don't know how that's going to go. I think she's going to destroy him, and I hope that he gets out quick enough that he, very early on, I mean, as soon as they hit Mexico, I hope he's like, on the plane to Mexico, like, what the F did I do? Get Bliss out here. That's what I am hoping for. I don't know what we're going to get, but that's what I'm hoping for. Along that way, we have Marshall, our Yoda, who is apparently hitting it off with, is her name Jacquelina? He calls her Jack. And I know it's something like Jacqueline. I think it's Jacquelina. But he calls her Jack oftentimes when he's talking to her. And I know that's what stuck in my head. I can't get a read on her. It's like, I think she's great. And I think she's very, like, straightforward. And I think she's funny. But I can't quite get a read on her. And the fact that these two connected makes me feel like I don't actually have a read on Marshall. Besides him being our Yoda, I'm not 100% sure. I don't know him that well because I didn't see him with her. I don't know what. I think I saw him more with Wendy. I think that's her name. I'm so sorry, you guys. I'll do better. But, like, I don't know. Like, so we never saw him talk to Wendy, but just something about the way that they both interact with all of the people in the pods with them. Not the pods, but, like, in the living quarters with them. Like, something made me think that they would get along well, and I don't know why. But he hits it off. He asks her to marry him. We see them meet, and they're both very happy. He's doing his... and she's hyping him, and it reminds me very, very, very much of if you watch Married at First Sight, the New Orleans season. There was Woody, and I can't remember his wife's name, but they have that same type of, like, vibe, and it's such a good vibe, and I love it so much. So that makes me feel very hopeful for them, because Woody and his, I think her name's I don't know. They just had a baby, and they are still happy. Salem, stop it. They're still happy, and they are so good together. And so the fact that I'm getting that same vibe from this couple makes me really happy. So that's good. Now, let's go to the one we want to talk about, this season's ultimate, Cameron and Lauren. And that's going to be Brett and Tiffany. And last we talked about them, Tiffany had fallen asleep in the comfort of telling him she loves him, and he left kind of freaked out. So they see each other, and she's like, I'm so glad you're here. I'm so embarrassed. I'm so upset. I feel so bad. And he's like, well, I'm not really sure. You fell asleep? Like, how did you just fell asleep? And she's like, it just happened. I was listening to your voice. I was feeling so content. I fell asleep. You could tell that's what happened, right? And they talk, and he asked her to marry him. And she says yes. Y'all, they meet. And I'm telling you, it's magic. It's magic. They're magic. They're the kind of magic that Lauren and Cameron gave us. It's just something that's going to work. And their kisses look good. They look like they've been kissing for years. Like, they look so comfortable. They match each other, so they look like they fit together so wonderfully, like height-wise and just looks and everything about. They look like a couple, a beautiful couple that you would see and be like, damn, they've been together forever. Like, forever. The energy is there. It's all there. And I'm excited to get out of these pods. I think that we have one more episode Like, I think episode 4 is going to be us going into the pods one more time. And then I think we're moving on out the pods. And I can't wait. I can't wait for our honeymoons. I can't wait for, well, I guess it's not a honeymoon because we're not married yet, but you know what I mean, like our vacation. I can't wait for moving into the apartments. I can't wait. I'm so excited for Brett and Tiffany. I cannot wait. Side note, I still follow Lauren on Instagram just because I love Lauren and Cameron. And I mean, like, whatever, but I just love them. And I can't wait. I can't wait to add Brett and Tiffany to that. I can't wait to add Kwame and Chelsea to that. I cannot wait. And is his name Ryan? I hope that Ryan and Bliss get together because I feel like, so I know, like, I feel like Brett and Tiffany are our Lauren and Cameron. I feel like Kwame and Chelsea very well could be. And I feel like Bliss and maybe Ryan are like a good this might be our best season. Like, statistically speaking, this could be our best season. And I'm glad we're here doing it together.